They walked me up some stairs, and there was Hugo Chavez, President Hugo
Oh my
Chavez,
gosh.
in a press conference. And I had a situation in Venezuela. I went there after flooding, horrible flooding that killed, I think, 60,000 people. It was terrible.
Oh
And
gosh.
I wanted to send down some medicines for the refugees that were in refugee centers. And, one person gets sick, they all get sick, and thousands of people that had lost their homes, and talked to doctors there to find out what they needed. And I was not comfortable working with the docs. I went to the doc to, and okay, who's your boss? Who's your boss? Trying to get to the top of the food chain to figure
Mhm.
out who I could talk to make sure things weren't stolen on the dock.
Right.
And I was getting nowhere.
Mhm.
It was so frustrating. I finally drove to the presidential palace.
Oh gosh.
I said, I'm here to see the president. And they got on the phone and
You're
said
like,
a couple of things
yeah.
and waved me in to go park. And I went inside, and they said, and I said, I'm Kim Sorrelle. I'm here to see the president. And they made a phone call and had me sit down. And then they walked me up some stairs, and there was Hugo Chavez, President Hugo
Oh my
Chavez,
gosh.
in a press conference. And so we waited for the press conference to be done and ushered into an office. And then I talked to him and told him what I had going. And he guaranteed that everything would get through on the docks, that nothing would get stolen. And that's what happened.
Wow. Okay. So I'm glad I asked the question. The that took an unexpected turn. And
Yeah.
you had me wondering which country and okay. Well gosh. So um that could have been a mistake to just show up unannounced saying I need to
Yeah,
talk to the
especially, yeah. I mean, they have big guns. And so, yeah, it certainly
well,
could have been a mistake.
but I mean at the same time, I mean, I don't know. Did it help being a woman that they didn't think that you were a revolutionary coming to overthrow him? I mean, there must have been some security checks though.
You would think that there'd be more than what there were. I mean, they really
Right.
did. I had my 14-year-old son with me, and they just let us in. I mean, it was I don't know why. I don't know how, but an answer to prayer or whatever. But yeah, it was, I think being a woman probably helped me in that
Uh-huh.
moment, because I wasn't a threat.
Wow. Wow. Um, wow. That's fascinating. I'm just curious. How I mean, like how long? Not to get too deep into this, but like I mean, how long was that meeting or that interaction? Or I mean, see, looking at you suspiciously as an American capitalist, or
Yeah, it was probably 45 minutes. I
uh-huh.
was with him for quite some time, and certainly had to build a rapport to begin
Mm,
with, to
yeah.
build a trust so that we could talk about the nuts and bolts of things.
Wow. And he did follow through on that commitment to make sure things got through.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, I got phone calls from other nonprofits that were trying to send aid down, that their stuff had been sitting on the dock for a year. A year later, got a phone call from one, and a year and a half later from another, and their stuff was still on the dock and not released. And it
Mhm.
cost money to sit on the dock, and
Right.
wondered if I could use my pull. And I said, I think that was probably a one-time deal for me.
Wow.